Hello everyone, welcome to another round of PRL, Performance Racing League. I am your host for today, Hoop BK. I believe this is round 11 of Season 12 in our Sunday tier. And we've got quite an interesting one for you, a wet qualifying here at Montreal. Coming fresh off of a very weather-intensive weekend, last weekend in Bahrain of all places, but expecting a wet quali all the way through. So let me get everything set up really quickly. So it looks like inter conditions to start off. Sorry, let me check some audio real. All right, we are good to go. All right, yes, Montreal, Sunday tier, round 11 of 14, and we're having quite the championship battle at the front. We'll get into that as the event goes on, but for now we are watching McLaren driver Joe Bidone, who was the first one on the track, starting his qualifying lap in a few seconds' time. At the Inters quali, he's going to let... It's a newcomer, I'm gonna guess this is pronounced Jannemann, do the German flag. Hugh will be the first one across the line to start his lap. I believe his first full lap, never mind, he's invalidated at the Wall of Champions. I was going to say his first lap in the league, but an invalidation there. We will jump on back to Joe, who... Something bad happened there. The McLaren driver is no longer in qualifying. All right, how about Martin? Let's get on board with Martin, who is P3 in our championship standings. Big wiggle out of, I guess it's turn 2. He's P3 in our championship standings. Wow, very, very slippery right now. So the Inter's still getting up to temperature. Had a rough weekend last weekend in Bahrain, but still in the championship battle. Oh, retired in pits. Okay. I went away from you. I didn't know if you if you were still on the track for that. Not sure I missed disaster. So Joe will start from the back. There are better tracks to do this on, but I respect your bravery. Watch Martin come out of the hairpin. I'd say this track is full of chicanes and hairpins. I go as far to say there's probably only 2 corners on this track that are not hairpins or chicanes. Martin through the ever dangerous Wall of Champions chicane and across the line to set a 119.4. First time of the day. Kingsman coming across the line. He had his first race in the league last weekend and was P3 upon his debut, so certainly showing a lot of place. Phantom sets the new fastest time. We're starting in the 119s, 120s. I'm sure as water continues to get cleared on the line, it will start to speed up. I imagine there won't be too many times, there won't be too many pit stops during qualifying. I think probably load it up on fuel, keep the inters on, try to get them up to temperature, and just keep running them during pretty much the whole session. That'd be what I do anyway. See, Mr. Bean is invalidated. Dr. J comes across the line. Jannemann into the pits. Mr. Bean going to start another lap. Villeneuve is invalidated. Bats also has some pace to him. Heads down the long straight. DRS will be open in a dry track. Streaming towards that final chicane. Little right left. probably be in the 120s. 120s it is, 120.5, puts in P3 for the time being. So that championship battle, Mr. Bean is P2 in a very tight race at the top. I believe 9 points behind our championship leader, Gord Sauce, here at the bottom in the Mercedes. He still has not left the pit lane. Mr. Bean, a very solid win last weekend at Bahrain, with Gord Sauce finishing second. Some more times come across. Rusty, Butler, XDK Mysterious, up to P3 for the time being. See what Mr. Bean can do in his first flying lap. Very easy to cut the corner here in the final chicane, but he does it very cleanly. And we'll break into the 118s. He'll be the first driver to break into the 118s with a 118.5. About 6/10 clear of his closest competitor. We'll hop to Villeneuve. Montreal-based driver, I believe, or Quebec-based driver. So a home race for him in the Aston Martin. He takes it through the final corner. We're looking at in the 120s, 121s. 121.0. Very close between him and Rusty. 0.04 of a second. Phantom, I missed it. Very, taking the long way there. 118.1 from the Alpine driver. So perhaps the track drying out a touch, or at least the line drying out a touch. Finding a little bit more pace. Let's see. Is it going to be Rusty? No, it will be Janneman for an outlap there. XTK. And we'll go to Tar Heels then. Oh, just remembered I did not share with the Discord. So we're having a flashing caution. Our yellow flag. Love that. It finally disappears. There we go, got the link shared. Tar Heels put down his first lap. He slots in P12 for the time being. Let's see, Gord invalidated probably at the final corner of his outlap, and it's just it's not a very long lap around here, but it's a frustrating 80 seconds or so trying to get back around to actually put down a lap. Plenty of places to invalidate or pick up track limits warnings here. Very frustrating. Oh, I missed Hjaneman, 118.3. He slots into P2, so we are well within the 118s now at the top of the field. Mr. Bean responds into the 117s, about a 117.8. So once again, the Williams driver showing off his pace, even in the wet. Actually did pretty well in the wet last week too. Let's see, maybe XTK pushing right now. He's about 9/10 down. So not pushing too hard. Villeneuve says it's 9/10. Oh, he had just finished a lap. So he improved by 9/10 up to P6. Bats is half a second up through Sector 1. And we'll stay on board with the Haas driver here. Noob just put in his first lap. He's up to P4, and then the Ferrari. So really just waiting on Gord to get a lap down. And here, we'll actually hop over to him real quick. See, he should be on his first flyer. Our championship leader, want to see where he slots in near the top of the field. Very, very tight between him and Mr. Bean, and very tight between Mercedes and Williams in the constructors. I believe only 9 points. Gord flies down this final straight. And Gord missing his teammate for this week, I believe. Free Guy, even if he joins, will not be able to qualify. So a big opportunity for Williams here. Gord across the line for his first lap. He slots into P4, 1:18.4. So Mr. Bean still, what's that, 4.5 tenths clear of P2. So now everyone except for Joe has a time down. So the driver getting out of the way, I believe. Just gonna kind of scroll through here. Kingsman appears to be up through sector 2, about half a second, and get him competing for P7. Just his second race in the league, I believe. Heavy braking, quick right and then a left through that final chicane. Rather steady. Trying to find that dry line. He gets to a 1:19.4 up to P8, so about a tenth short of P7. Butler, Tar Heels. Perhaps some jostling for position. Ooh, Volt a little wiggly through there. So many places to, and we will see this in the race too. So many places to make a mistake and go over on track limits. And right now in the wet, even more difficult to keep the car where you want it to be. Tim Yaneman just started a push lap, I believe, in the Sauber this week for his debut. Ooh, so close through I don't have a track map. Well, that's turn 3, turn 4. He went purple in sector 1, according to the game. He's a 10th up on his previous time. He has an Alpine directly behind him, I believe. Alpine? Yes. Another little chicane here on the back side, ripping down towards the hairpin. Heavy braking zone, and in the wet, a very specific line you have to take. Oh, unfortunate there. Dr. J DSQ'd, perhaps trying to stay out of the way of a flying lap in the game, has punished him for it. Back to the Sauber driver. He actually goes into the pit lane, so it looked like he was up, but it could be the game lying to me. Gord Sauce close behind. Oh, that was Phantom. So they were back to back essentially, and Phantom goes 1:17.2. Perhaps the Sauber getting out of the way. Gord up to P3 at 1:17.8, and here is Free Guy joining. So he will join, but will be starting from the back of the field alongside Joe and Dr. J. Apologies, I keep missing these pole laps as so many fast drivers near the front putting up good times, and you pick the wrong one. Noob appears to have invalidated. He was on a pretty good lap. STK, probably not. Yeah, maybe that's a push lap. It's the other Aston Martin. I guess that's Volt coming across the line. Yes, so XTK heading back towards the line. Maybe a little wide, but does not go over. It's not going to be an improvement, though. Hey, what's going on, Joe? Good to see you here. See, this might be a push from Rusty. Williams in front is either Mr. Bean, he's about to put up a crazy time, or it's Butler about to start his lap. It was Mr. Bean putting up a crazy time. He gets into the 1:17.1s. A very tight battle here in the final minutes of qualifying. Very damp quali around, what is this, Notre Dame Island? Not familiar with my Quebec geography. I think that's right, though. So Mr. Bean once again flexing his muscle on pace. And once again I miss it. So that's 3 drivers in the 1:17s, 2 more in the 1:18s. Let's see if he's still early on in his lap. XTK finishing his lap now. He breaks into the 1:18s, 1:18.4, slots into P5. Trying to get out of the way there, it appears. Bat's still kind of early in his lap. Oh, he's heading towards the end of Sector 2. Let's see if he's on one right now. Says he's 0.6 up. So he's looking at a P7. That's where he's aiming for. If he can put up a similar Sector 3 time. This upper midfield, very, very tight right now in the Sunday tier. Had a ton of pace coming to the league over the last couple weeks. So the Haas driver breaking to P7 just behind his teammate with a 1:19.0. Okay. Martin perhaps responding here. So he heads towards the final corner. We're in the last 30 seconds of qualifying now. It's not going to be an improvement, so perhaps starting a push lap now. XTK will get across the line to start another lap. I think he will be the last one, however. Just 10 seconds remaining. I'm not sure that Rusty will be able to start another lap as some yellows through Sector 2. So Bat's getting out of the way. Those yellows can get out of the way so I can see the timer. And yes, we are out of time here. Mr. Bean once again. So that's a blazing fast time into the 1:16s now. Phantom about 3/10 up. He's going to have to find 2 more tenths. He has some traffic in his way, though. Behind an Aston Martin down the final stretch. A Haas getting out of the way. Perhaps a little bit of a tow. Aston Martin heads into the pits. Let's see. It's going to be close for the Alpine driver. He needs a 1:16.7. He won't get it. Finds 2 more tenths. Gets a little bit closer, but P2 it is temporarily. Gortsas finished up his lap, 1:17.3. Let's see, XTK is up. Butler jumping to P7. Small improvement there. Looks like this is going to be the final order then. For a 35 lap race around Montreal. Another tight qualifying. Maybe not at the very front, but through the upper midfield. Phantom just 3/10 behind Mr. Bean, who gets a pole once again. Gortsas, our championship leader, P3. Janneman, P4 in his first race. Martin, XTK Mysterious, Butler, Bats, Rusty Oil Can, and Noob plays through the top 10. Kingsman, P11, Tar Heels 12th, Villeneuve, Volt, Joe, Dr. J, and Free Guy should be slotting into P17. So that'll be our starting order after a very wet qualifying around Montreal. And we'll see you in a couple minutes to get this race underway. Should be a dry race, my understanding. But 17 cars around Montreal, not a ton of space, so could be in for an eventful first few laps. If you're just joining us, we're waiting for our Grand Prix to get underway. Round 11 of Season 12, Performance Racing League. Give the drivers a couple minutes to set their strategies, make sure their setups are where they want them to be. We're through the top of our driver standings really quick here. Gord Sauce leads with 343 points, but Mr. Bean chasing him down 5 consecutive podiums, all first or second place. Mr. Bean just 8 points behind. He is our pole sitter today. Much further back to Martin in P3 in the Haas. He's 119 behind, but a very tight battle for P3 as Joe Bidome just 2 points behind him, and Noob in P5 is just 7 points behind the Haas driver. So third to fifth, just 7-point gap. Tar Heels, P6. He is, let's see, quick math, 38 points behind Noob. Rusty Oil Can, 7th. Then a little bit of a gap to Craig, who I think was supposed to join us today, was not available in P8. Marshana, P9, who's not here, and Dr. J, P10. So that's the top 10 of our standings. The constructors, it's Mercedes on top by just 8 points to Williams. Well, both teams have both drivers today, but Frieger will be starting from the back of the field for Mercedes. And then 93 back of the leader is Alpine, Tar Heels, and whoever is reserving for them today. I believe Phantom is in the Alpine, so certainly a lot of points on the board for them early on. V-Carb a little bit back from them. Kick Sauber in P5 just 6 points behind V-Carb, and Haas just 3 points behind them. As we're on the grid, the lights on and then off. We are underway from Montreal. Solid start from Mr. Bean at the front. He's going to get away cleanly. A lot of shuffling through the field. Watch Gord go around the outside of the Kick Sauber. Make sure there's no incidents through here. We'll hop around. Mr. Bean leads the field through the end of Sector 1. Let's get all of our details up. Rusty already up 2. Free Guy, a big mover, already up 4. Joe up 3, both starting from the back. See, as I expected, mediums and hards should be a one-stop strategy. So they'll file into, maybe a collision there as they all bunch up into the hairpin near the back. We had a car around. Unfortunately, my stuff is in the way. So Williams, that's Butler, around in the hairpin. He will lose out, and I will miss out on Phantom getting by Mr. Bean. So Phantom will lead the first lap, slipping by the Williams on that straight. his turn to lead the field into Sector 1. A couple drivers in the pits, and it looks like Rusty falling a little bit back down the order. All the drivers still bunched up. Free Guy already up to P8 from P17 on the grid. It's like Joe and Butler both suffering damage. Probably both from that incident in the hairpin. Give everybody a little bit of screen time here. So they jump onto the hards very early. Now DRS available on this lap. So Mr. Bean with a DRS overtake. So we head back towards the final chicane and the start-finish straight. Gordsas in P3. Holding off Martin in P4. As I say that, the Haas gets by with a DRS overtake. Maybe dumping a little bit of battery. Now the top 5 or 6 are looking to pull away. Really, it's the top 4 now. So Yeneman hanging on in P5. Go back to look at, yes, our biggest movers. So Free Guy already up 8. Starting from the back. And we've got a yellow, as that'll be it for Butler. He retires in the pits. Hopefully the game will keep his car there. Not a great, just a tough start for him, and running all by yourself in the back is not very fun. But that's some points missing for Williams now in the constructors. Mr. Bean will have to pick up a ton of points against Gord and Free Guy. Actually falls to P10 as I was saying that. Martin picks up fastest lap on the mediums as we're starting to get in a bit of a groove here. Maybe that yellow can go away, please. Can that yellow go away? And there's our first track limit violation. I am sure we will see a lot more throughout the rest of this race. It's Phantom pulling up to the back of Mr. Bean. There's DRS there. Now they really did bring that Williams back on track. Thank you, EA. Now the top 3 nose to tail exiting the hairpin, and now Mr. Bean knows that he will not have DRS. His competitors will. Will he just let him go? Oh, actually, Phantom just pokes his nose out, does not try to make the move, tucks back in for DRS once again on the main straight. And these top 3, and Gord not too far behind, on the verge of DRS. Oh, we have an incident in the Wall of Champions, it appears. Dr. J, the newest victim of that chicane. It's already kind of a lonely race developing for Yeneman in P5. He's 2.7 back. Noob and XTK have paired up. And then it's 3 more seconds back to Free Guy in P8, who are already dealing with that 3-second penalty. Back to the front here. Gord has officially joined the DRS party. He will tuck in behind Martin in the Haas. Let's see, Phantom once again maybe playing the patience game here. It's hard to make a late move into that chicane, so he will continue to tuck in. The issue is Martin may have a little bit more momentum now, and Phantom no longer being able to play offensively or cautiously on the offense. He may have to go defensive. Let's hop back. Let's check out this battle for a sec. Free Guy in 8th, Villeneuve in 9th, Bats in 10th, all battling. Free Guy actually a really good first couple turns there. He has pulled away a bit. It's like 3/10. And as we were looking at that, Gord has fallen away. He is over a second. So now they are separated from the top two. And, oh, he must have got by Martin. That's what it was. So Gord Sauce gets by Martin. But in the process, both of them fall away from DRS from Phantom. It's going to leave Gord vulnerable to the Haas. As the Haas completes that move, Phantom once again tucking in behind Mr. Bean at the front. Ooh, big slide there from Gord. Maybe a little kiss to the wall on exit. As now they start to trickle in a little bit stronger now. Those track limits violations. XTK still hanging on to the back of Noob. Bats and Villeneuve paired up. Kingsman a little further back, and Rusty as well. After a few laps with these races, they start to fall into their distinctive packs. Definitely some good racing within those packs, a little bit easier to keep up with as well. But so far, Mr. Bean holding the lead over his rival in the Alpine as XTK gets by Noob. And we have a yellow car around. I believe that's Volt in the Aston, but he gets going once again. We'll stick with XTK and Noob as Phantom has decided once again to not try the overtake here. But Noob is feeling a little bit braver than him, gets the inside of the McLaren and completes the move for Wall of Champions. Rusty gets by Kingsman on the front stretch, it appears. Kingsman not running as well as he did last week. Strategy certainly helped him last week to get to that debut P3. Certainly has pace, though, and this race is far from over, but right now we're running in P12 of 17. Mr. Bean and Phantom continuing to stretch their legs. And Martin actually pulling away from Gord a touch to break DRS. Once again through the hairpin at the far end of the course. Yep, certainly seems that the Alpine driver is content to just stick with Mr. Bean and not really go for the overtake. I think it may cost him a little bit of time, at least compared to drivers behind, but being able to stick with the leader and feel it out to make a decisive move, certainly a good strategy. Noob picking up a warning as well. Leave Bats. Oh, as we go to him, he picks up a warning. Very easy to get it right there. Very close battle here, 8th through 10th. They are on the back of Free Guy. Oh, a little bump from behind. And it looks like he lost an end plate in the process. Bunch of very tricky corners here. He gets the inside. He makes it work. Wow, great move there by Bats. Very tight chicane there. He gets by Free Guy. I believe gets ushered wide, perhaps. Villeneuve gets by Rusty and... oof. A little clumsy there from the Mercedes driver. Gets in the back of Kingsman as he falls to P12. Oh, and Gordsauce gets his 3-second penalty, the first of the leaders. He has fallen back. He and Martin have fallen back from the leaders considerably now. 2.9 seconds from him up to Phantom. so many tight corners, chicanes. It's super easy to cut them or go wide on exit and pick up penalties here. In the Saturday practice race, there were a lot of penalties just between the 5 or 6 drivers doing it. Pretty much made my decision there that I did not want to be a part of this race. Very frustrating drive for me. Very fun commentating race for me. Just lap 10, and now, was this 8 drivers already picking up track limits violations. Something tells me the 3 bonus points will be far between. Yeah, not an ideal one for you, Butler. Whole field put together. Perhaps a little bit of clumsiness in the hairpin. Got you there. I got the back end of it, but... It's really a lot of duos through the field now. Mr. Bean and Phantom, Gordsauce and Martin, Hyuneman and XTK, Hyuneman all by himself, XTK ahead of Noob, where I'm watching him now. And they caught me napping, and once again Phantom, well, for the first time it seems, Phantom actually makes the move on that stretch, on that straightaway, and takes P1 from Mr. Bean. He had been sniffing it out for the last few laps, but had decided against it. But he finally makes the move and takes the lead of this Grand Prix. That's in Villeneuve. Just looking at the map, nearly side by side into that final chicane. Villeneuve takes P8 for the time being. Bats takes it back into P1, or turn 1. Apologies. Here, we'll go back to that real quick. A little bit of ghosting, it appeared. But some side-by-side racing. Oh, full safety car, actually. I thought that yellow was going to go away, and it didn't. Dr. J, falling victim to that final chicane, loses his entire wing, and we're going to get our first safety car of the day. All the leaders coming in, Phantom in. So that making that pass may come out to be a very big move. Still pretty early, but he is the first one into pit lane. He can beat his rival out. He ditches... Let's see. I want to see. He puts the hards on. If you started on the hards, it's a little bit tougher for you. You may have to two-stop this. If you started on the mediums, you can get to the end. As, yeah, Butler says, new mediums will not last. I absolutely agree. If you started on the hards, you may do what XTK is doing and stay out on said hards. We probably picked up a violation there. See, Bat starting on the hards. Rusty, I believe, was also on the hards. Puts another set on. Joe Bidome stays out. Yeah, so it's why personally I never start on the hards, because you get a somewhat early safety car like this, you are out of luck. The mediums will not get to the end. If they do, you will be hurting. So let's see, XTK still out on the hards that he started with. Gord on mediums. So he started on the hards. Hyuneman and Noob on new mediums. Free Guy stays out on his mediums. Joe didn't start on the hards, pitted lap 1, so depending on how those feel, perhaps you could get to the end. Wear wasn't too bad in the practice races on the hards, but Joe is banking on that. Volt also stays out. Tar Heels had just recently boxed to put hards. We're going to be waiting a little bit for the group to come back together, waiting on Tar Heels and Dr. J. So this could be a little bit of an extended safety car period. Oh man, that's not any good. Volt gets into the back of Bats and picks up a considerable penalty. Did he pick up damage as well? He's missing an end plate. Ooh, that is actual considerable wing damage. So now strategy will come into play for this one. Also, I would not want to be Gortsas right now. He's on the best tire of the leaders, but he's got to make it last. And he's also stuck behind a driver on considerably worse tires, separating him and the leader. So really, Gord has to be aggressive on the restart, but then pull back enough to try to get these mediums to last a little bit longer. And there's certainly more than a 9-point gap between P2 and P4, I believe. Or 9-point gap. Yes, it's a 15-point difference between P2 and P4. So as they run, Mr. Bean would jump into P1 in the standings. Something to keep an eye out for as we're starting to run out of races here in Season 12. Well, I think we lost Rusty. Let me see if I can get it back in. Said we lost him, so hopefully we'll try to get him back in here. So Volt did not change the wing, but he has new tires on. Perhaps a little bit of a blunder there. And I think this should be the final lap under safety car as we head towards the hairpin. So Phantom gets by Mr. Bean. The lap before the safety car comes out. First one into the pit lane, first one out of the pit lane. And he will lead the field through the final sector before we go green. Mysterious sitting P3, and that McLaren has yet to make a pit stop. He separates the front runners from Gortsas, our championship leader in P4. Martin, Hanneman in his debut as, I believe he's already going. Yeah, Phantom gets a big jump. Mysterious gets his warning as we head towards the chicane. Field's spreading out a little bit, and Rusty, ooh, maybe we didn't get him back in time. His car heads to the pit lane. Oh, wow. Bats gets the inside of Free Guy there. We catch that. The end of that move. Mercedes runner perhaps running a little wide. Oh, and I stepped away and we got a VSC. Is that Villeneuve? I had just pulled away from that. From that pack, and Villeneuve finds the wall. He is missing the entirety of his wing. And we are under VSC very quickly after the restart, actually. Volt, let's see, was he involved in that? He had damage anyway, so possibly not. There's a part of this group around here looking to see if there's any new damage. Had to see Rusty made it back in, but his car did pit. Probably screwed his strategy a little bit. There's Villeneuve in his home race. A lot of damage there. He's going to have to make his way back to the pit lane. Looks like Free Guy in the pits. Here, we'll hop to him real quick. No damage, but he needed new tires anyway. Ooh. We are back green. Mr. Bean and Phantom, we caught the end of that move into... Oh, big wobble from the Alpine. Huge wobble in the background, and now Mr. Bean's going to pull away. Oh, wow, look at this mess back here. Saw Gore dropping down the order, and XTK is around. That's going to be some serious damage for the McLaren. As he will tumble down the order. He had just picked up a drive-through as well. From decent to a little bit of a nightmare for the McLaren driver. We're watching Gordsauce in this four-way battle for P3. He had tumbled down the order, perhaps getting stuck behind XTK. Martin jumps on it. Hyunmin up to P3, making the overtake on Martin. Oh, we've lost Rusty. For good this time, it appears. That is a very definitive retired from session. Hopefully that does not bring out a safety car. Oh. So we caught that big wobble from the Alpine driver as he got passed by Mr. Bean. He has fallen away from the leader and back towards P3. This group's starting to catch him, all within DRS now. Yeah, I'm assuming that was a connection thing. Rusty is back in, but his car is gone. Really unfortunate there for the Sauber driver. We'll tune into this pack as Mr. Bean starting to pull away, but Phantom having to go super defensive now. Hyunmin on better tires for the time being. He's going to get to the outside as DRS opens to complete the move. Let's see, Martin, he ducks to the inside and pulls back in. So now 5 drivers involved as Noob has joined the party. They all file through the final corner. Gore gets to the inside of the Haas, and he sets the fastest lap time of the race. So we head down to turn 1. Ooh, a little bit of a bunch up there. I think Martin avoids any contact. Noob's going to get to the inside, try to make a move here with a late brake. Side by side. Very tight corner to try to get to the inside and make a move on. So Noob shuffled out of the way, but I think this was clean, just a little bit of an incident. He does not lose too much time, still within DRS. We're going to try to hop to see this real quick. Yes, Bats gets by Kingsman. DRS overtake. They are very close, this duo. But Bats picks up another penalty immediately afterwards. Here, let's look at the penalties here. 3s, 6s. XTK got 10 seconds for speeding, I believe, in the pit lane. Back towards the front. Hyunmin actually pulling up to Mr. Bean. He's within DRS range. He may get it on this straight. Martin falling away from the back of Gordsauce. Oh, so no DRS there, actually. Oh, he was within a second, but it may not have lined up with the DRS zones. More penalties starting to come through the wire. Volt into pit lane, putting on a new set of mediums, it appears. We're back here at the front. Hyunmin looking to pull within DRS range of the leader, Mr. Bean. Seems like he's just on the edge. Ooh, big lock into the hairpin, but keeps enough speed. Still don't think he's going to get DRS. We'll see if he's able to open it here. He does not. So he's going to have to be defensive here. Phantom in the Alpine will go to the outside and complete the move. So Phantom in him back in front in P2 until he picks up the 3-second penalty. And the fastest lap. He went super aggressive on that lap. It's going to cost him 3 seconds in the end, but for now it gets him P2. Gord Sauce in P4 watching this unfold, and now Phantom actually within 7/10 of Mr. Bean. This group may all pull together and we might have a 6-way battle at the front. This sextet at the front. And then Joe back in P7. He has yet to... Oh, no, he has stopped. It's just been a while. He leads Bats and Kingsman at 7, 8, 9. Back towards the hairpin at the far end of the course. Mr. Bean a little bit of a lock, but who doesn't lock up into this hairpin, to be fair? And the Alpine driver in P2 will get DRS. That's 5 drivers behind the Williams, all getting DRS. And they're going to shave out a couple of tenths as they head towards the final corner. And get it again as they head towards turn 1. Oh, Noob goes around. That's turn 2, I believe. It is a tricky corner. There is no traction on exit, and if you step on it a little too early, the rear will come around on you. So Noob going to fall away from that pack, probably fall towards Joe Biden in P7. He's still got a little bit of a gap there, but definitely has some work to do as those in front of him do have DRS. Heading back towards the hairpin for the 22nd time. Group of now 5 at the front. Mr. Bean just 4/10 ahead. I think this is going to be a DRS overtake for Phantom. Let's see. He looks to the inside. He has plenty of speed. He'll get by, finish the move, closing the door before they get to the chicane. A big wobble there. Mr. Bean trying to get some overlap as they head back towards the start-finish line. Ooh, he will get some overlap. Turn in, a little bit of wheel banging at the front. Phantom will get the inside line as they head out of turn 2, but Mr. Bean a lot more speed on exit. Will he complete the move? Yes. Some great racing here at the front. We do have a yellow. Is that Martin? Oh, it was Martin. Loses it in turn, maybe that's 4. That little chicane, and actually it does bring out a full course safety car. Some great action here at the front. And once again, a little bit of a shuffle as the full safety car comes out with 12 laps to go. Those at the back entering the pits first. Villeneuve, free guy retiring from the session. A Volt had just pitted. He will stay out. Will says slightly too early for softs. I would agree. I think some guys are going to try it regardless, but it's going to really hurt at the end. All the leaders coming in. Let's see, Noob will come in. Yeah, I should see pretty much everyone come in now. Gord will bolt on the softs. Everyone else at the front going for the mediums. Noob will go mediums. Martin, needs yet a full wing change, and he will go with the mediums. Oh, a double stack. Bats getting caught out because Martin needs a wing. Kingsman will go on the soft. Yeah, we're going to see a little bit of everything here. Dr. J on mediums. Tar Heels went with the softs. Let's see, Volt, Villeneuve, XTK put on the softs. So yes, now a much better compound. And this has come to Joe Biden. This race has come into his hands. he was able to put on mediums after 21 laps on the hards after an incident on lap 1. He's now in P6. Gord Sauce, there was some concern for him earlier because he started on the hards and was going to have to get the mediums to the end. That is no more. He can bolt on the softs. He has the best tires of all the leaders. Martin falls back, but not too far. P7 after having to make a wing change after his incident brought out the safety car. But P7, the field is all brought together. He's just a few cars away from where he was. Kingsman and Tar Heels right behind him, though, on fresh softs. Bats lost out a little bit due to a double stack. Let's actually see quickly some big movers here as we're waiting for the field to come back together. And honestly, if I guess once they go green, it might not be this next lap, it could be the lap after. That's 8-9 laps of green flag conditions on the softs. That won't be too bad. Keep them fresh enough during the safety car period, and they're still brand spanking new, essentially. But you got to make the most of them here over the last 10 laps or so. Perhaps a little mix up there, order-wise in the hairpin. Yeah, going to be another lap, I believe. We hadn't got the message at all. So this will be, quick math, probably 9 laps. Green flag run at the end. This is the second full safety car, so I guess we could get another full safety car. Had 2 safety cars and a VSC if you're just tuning in. Mr. Bean has started on pole. It's been a battle between him and Phantom at the front. Ooh, yeah, it looks like possibly some confusion there over order in the back. Kahneman in his first start in PRL is up in P3. Championship leader Gord Sauce P4. He will not be championship leader if this holds, though. Noob has been able to hang out towards the front. Joe Bidome, after an early incident, has had this race come towards him strategy-wise. He's up in P6 after starting near the back. Martin just brought out this safety car with an incident. He's in P7. Car looking good as new, though. Kingsman up to P8 after running in the low teens for a lot of the day. He and Tar Heels are on fresh softs. We have Bats, Dr. J, Volt, Villeneuve in his home race in P13. Mysterious, P14. He's the final car running. A couple of DNFs to this point. Some connection related, some incident related. That's a full look at our field. Oh no. Noob. 10-second penalty for running into the back of Gord Sauce under safety car. Game issues this as a severe collision. I'm trying to see if there's any damage. It doesn't appear to be any severe damage, but 10-second penalty is going to hurt with such a late safety car. Field really bunching up here. It's going to be easy to run into the back of... You got to be very, very careful. And he takes off. Mr. Bean takes off. This is the leader. Yeah, bunching up near the back. Kahneman picks up another 3-second penalty. Mr. Bean leads them to the line. to start lap 27 of 35. I get the green flag conditions going once again. Field had bunched up a little bit of a gap now from P8 to P9. Ooh, big wobble there from Phantom, and Yanaman's going to try to get there. He has a little bit of a slide on exit. Can he get to the side pods? It looks like he can. A little bit of overlap, but will pull back in. No DRS to help that move, so he will tuck back in. That wobble has cost Phantom. He's now over a second behind from the leader. Big lock, though, from Mr. Bean. Gord, ooh, almost got into the back of the kick-sabber. Heading into the hairpin. No harm done, it appears, as they will all head down the back straight. Bounce around a little bit. Dr. J, a little bit further back from P10. This little group at the end. I wonder if there was an issue on the restart, because they've already fallen away. DRS will be enabled this time around with just 8 laps to go. Yes, 8 laps to go. Gord on those softs has not been able to really use them, though. Has not been able to get by Hyuneman in P3, or for P3. It's been able to pull away from Noob, though, after a little bit of an issue on the restart. Noob falling back towards Joe Bidome. He's going to have to get defensive here, as they will have DRS. Early on the brakes to get really defensive, hold everybody up. He's got a train of 4 cars behind him as they head towards the hairpin. Joe tries to get to the inside, maybe a little shuffled there, no overlap, but he's going to dive it in, a little bit of a lock. Moves them wide, they're 3 wide on exit now. The Haas gets in there of Martin. Noob gets shuffled to P6, Martin right behind him now, so a big lunge by Joe Bidome, but he makes it in there with a little bit of a lock. Not sure if there's any contact. Ooh, a little bit of contact there. Martin trying to make some space. They are side by side. Oh, they are banging all the way through the chicane. No pause. Oh, wow. Some contact there between Noob and Martin, I believe. Martin sent to the inside wall, and he has some damage. We saw that message, Mr. Bean finally getting his 3-second penalty. He joins the club. He was the only leader without a penalty, but now he joins in. Yeah, Butler, I'm not going to comment on that, but there was certainly some wheel banging between those 3 or 4 drivers in the corners before. Martin and Noob once again exchange positions. Martin, that lack of downforce very apparent there through that chicane. Noob will get by. Joe has been able to pull away from this group. They are side by side once again at the hairpin. He goes wide. A little bit of a switcheroo there from Noob as they head back towards the final straight. We're going to go back towards the front. Phantom gets by Mr. Beam and catch the end of that move. And he tucks in P1. We're actually going to pull over the penalties. They all have 3-second penalties, the top 4. As Phantom puts up the fastest lap of the race, breaking into the 110s. So for the top 4, how they run, unless another penalty comes to one of them, that's how they will finish. Though Gord Sauce may need to look in the mirrors at Joe Bidome a little bit and then try to get the hell away from them McLaren driver with his 3-second penalty. We're going to go back towards that battle for P6. And actually, P8 or P9 and P10. Bats gets by Tar Heels, I believe that move was. Martin and Noob side by side. We get the aerial view. Great view here from the top. That lack of downforce really hurting the Haas. And once again, they are nearly touching as they head down towards the hairpin. 2 Ferraris chasing the Haas. Really, it's a little Ferrari sandwich with Haas bread as Mr. Bean gets back by Phantom for the lead here as they head back to the line in 5 to go. Whew, definitely should have brought a water out during the safety cars. The action getting really intense here at Montreal. I'm sweating just watching. Nearly 3 wide behind Noob. Kingsman gets by Bats and Martin falling down to P9. teammates going nearly side by side. The two Haas's, two Ferraris. Noob going to try to pull away now, make up as much time as possible. He has a ton of penalties right now. The Butler says Gord's sauce have gone off. Yeah, it appears so. He has really come back towards Joe when he needed to be doing the opposite. With his home race as well. And it's starting to fall away from him a little bit. I know we got a battle for the lead going on, but some really good battling here between P6 and P9. P10 now as Tar Heels joins the fray. Two Haas's and the Ferraris, though Noob is starting to pull away a little bit. Back to the front. Phantom not getting to Mr. Bean that time. Joe finally getting by Gord as those softs are really starting to hurt him. Probably corner exit of the hairpin. Not his favorite place right now. And Joe making up a ton of time there. Yeah, lost about a second that time around. And the McLaren of Joe Bidome has gotten through. Gord's P5 should be safe, though. He's obviously not going to want it, but yeah, already losing a ton of time, just even to the McLaren. Mr. Bean and Phantom. Neck and neck. No moves made back there, and Yanaman right behind in his PRL debut. We can get back-to-back debut podiums now. Kingsman last week. Yanaman this week. And Joe Bidome actually 3.5 seconds back. There's penalties in the top three. So if he could pull up, we started to fall back a little bit. Mr. Bean can't hold off Phantom this time around on the final straight. So Phantom will lead the field to 3 laps to go here in Montreal. Yeah, Butler pointing that out. Joe could win this race, but he is starting to lose time to the leaders. I think the DRS is helping them out a lot more than the open air is helping Joe. He'd have to make up 1.5 seconds at this point. Kingsman and Tar Heels changing spots, and we have a yellow. What happened here? Gord, perhaps? He dropped a ton of time there, I believe. Noob and Martin side by side, turning in. Going to be very, very close. A little bit of a touching there. That corner tightens. A lot of battles all of a sudden. Villeneuve gets by Kingsman, who's starting to fall down the field a little bit. He was up fighting for P7 just moments ago. Back to the front. Mr. Bean. Outside line. And gets by Phantom, who gone defensive. The Sauber still lurking behind. Oh, we've got issues in the back. Martin, I believe, is around. I'm not getting any good... Oh, yep, there we go, because he was ghosted. But, oh, man, another rough finish for Martin. It fell apart for him late last week as well, and once again missing out on some points due to a late incident. Did not get any video of that, but very tight battling in that area of the field. Yanaman gets by Phantom. We missed that. Martin trying to make up positions already. Oh, he gets by Kingsman, who has hopped into the pits. So now the Sauber driver, P2, and let's see if he made his move a little bit too early. He's going to have to be defensive here against the Alpine, and might be a little early to try to get by Mr. Bean for the win. He's going to want it next time by, but a lot of sliding through the hairpin. He's going to lose some time there before making it up down the straight. We tuned into the leaders, so we've got quite a battle going on in the midfield, it appears. The XTK, I believe, is around. So we head getting the white flag for the final lap. Mr. Bean was on pole. He has been battling the Alpine of Phantom this entire race. Yanaman hanging out in the back in the outskirts of this battle. Whoa, is he going to make it around the outside? He does. The camera didn't do it justice there, but around the outside on exit, the Sauber makes the move, and after hanging out near the front all day, he's finally up in the lead in his PRL debut. He's have to get really defensive here. A couple more DRS zones that Mr. Bean can take advantage of. So now the Sauber, for the first time, leads this trio all the way down to the hairpin for the final time. Phantom actually put his nose in there, maybe a little sniff of P2. Final overtaking opportunity. The Williams of Mr. Bean. 6/10 back. Phantom 4/10 behind him. Can the Sauber hold them off? Goes defensive. Mr. Bean on the outside. He completes the move. And Mr. Bean in the final corners. Phantom goes wide. Mr. Bean's going to hang on to win the Montreal Grand Prix. Round 11. What a finish there. What a move by the Sauber of Hjanaman to get P1, at least for the time being, but could not put up a big enough defense to hold on. Uh-oh. Did we lose Gord at the Wall of Champions? So it says he DNF'd here. Wow. What a race. Bunch of awesome overtakes there at the end. And after all this, oh yeah, it looks like Gord may have, wow, that's going to really hurt him. We'll look at the final in a moment, but what a crazy final lap. Those top three going all at it. Joe Bidome slips into P4 after all of that. He ends up P4 and gets the game's driver of the day. I would tend to agree after an early incident. I think Bats slipped up to P5. We'll take a moment here. Yes. Mr. Bean, excellent overtake, clean overtake. The final corner holds off the newcomer, Hjanaman, for the top step on the podium. But that's the Sauber driver gets P2 on his debut. Phantom gets P3 after an awesome race. He grabs fastest lap. Joe Bidome, time penalties, needed just a little bit longer to get on that step, but he goes all the way up to P4. Bats, P5, slipping into P5. Dr. J gets P6. What a finish for these drivers as they come flying up the field at the very end. Martin was running near the top. It's P7 after faltering a little bit, but making up some positions. Villeneuve gets back up to P8. Tar Heels P9. Mysterious P10. Kingsman P11. Volt P12. Gord, we missed it, but there must have been an incident at the very end. He falls down to P13. This is going to be a costly race for him in the standings. Noob gets P14. Fortunately, a ton of penalties really hurt him. I believe it was 19 seconds of penalties. Free Guy, P15, DNFing. Same for Rusty and Butler. But what a crazy race. What an excellent final few laps after the safety car. I'm going to try to get... No, there's just too many incidents. Sorry, stewards. There are just too many incidents to get. I'm not sure if anyone's going to get those points anyway, but wow. Excellent overtakes. Some great racecraft throughout the field. Some wheel banging as well. A very eventful race, and Mr. Bean pulls it out in the final corner. I'm not sure how we can top that, but we're going to try to do it next week when we are at, let's see, we're at Zandvoort next week. Hopefully we're in for another good one. Midweek had an awesome race, if I say so myself, at Zandvoort earlier this season. So hopefully we'll have another eventful one, a clean one, and one that shows off the abilities of the drivers in this league. If you want to be a part of this, check out our Discord. We'd love to have you. I believe we have a link in our Twitch description. And we'll hopefully see you next week in the Netherlands. This has been Hoop BK and Performance Racing League.